You ever meet a guy who says, I'm not really the emotional type, and then suddenly he's calling you just to hear your voice? Yeah, he didn't fall for your perfume. He hit an emotional trigger, one he didn't even know existed. The truth is, men walk around thinking they're in control of their emotions, but under the surface, they're being pulled in by emotional magnets that work on autopilot. In this video, I'm going to reveal 10 secret emotional triggers that make men feel deeply connected, even when they don't understand why. These aren't tricks. They're how you build real, lasting connection with a man without chasing, pretending, or playing games. And trigger number 6, let's just say it bypasses logic and ego and hits straight into the part of his brain that whispers, she's the one. Let's dive in. So why does this even matter? Because, let's be honest, you've seen it. That guy who says he's not looking for anything serious, then meets someone and suddenly he's all in. What changed? It wasn't her looks. It wasn't luck. It was the emotional access points she unknowingly triggered. See, most women are taught how to attract men, but not how to bond with them on a level that makes them think about you when you're not around. The kind of connection that keeps him invested, not out of obligation, but because something about you just feels like home. Let's break down the first 3 emotional triggers, starting with one that sounds simple, but most people never actually do. 1, the I see the real you trigger. Most men walk through life wearing a mask, not because they're fake, but because they have to. They're expected to be strong, capable, stoic, and never show a crack. But inside, there's a version of him no one sees, the unfiltered version, the one with doubts, dreams, fears, and even a weird sense of humor he only shows to his dog. When you acknowledge that real version of him, not the put together guy or the provider, but the whole human underneath, he feels a kind of safety he rarely experiences. Here's the secret. Don't just compliment what he does. Notice who he is when he's not performing. Say something like, most people probably see you as super confident, but I feel like there's a calm, quiet part of you that thinks way deeper than you let on. Watch his eyes. That's the moment the mask slips, and that's the beginning of emotional attachment. 2, the gentle rejection of his ego. Here's a curveball. One of the strongest emotional triggers for a man is when a woman doesn't blindly validate his ego. Yep, men are used to being admired, praised, or tiptoed around, but when a woman respectfully calls him out or holds her ground, it does something wild. It triggers his respect. And respect is the foundation of emotional attachment for men. But it has to be done right. Not with sarcasm or attitude, but with calm confidence. For example, let's say he makes a bold claim in conversation, something kind of cocky. Instead of just smiling and nodding, you say, I'm not sure I agree with that, but I'm open to hearing your side. You didn't attack, you didn't flatter, you challenged him with grace. And guess what? Now you're not just another woman who strokes his ego. You're the one who stands out. You're the one he starts chasing. Not because you denied him, but because you made him want your approval. 3, the shared secret effect. Want to trigger a man's emotional loyalty without ever saying the word love? Tell him a secret. No, not a deep, dark trauma dump. Just something a little personal. Something you don't tell everyone. Why? Because it activates his protector instinct. It signals, I trust you. And when you trust him, he feels responsible for you. Let's say you're on a late night call and you casually drop, I don't usually admit this, but I get nervous around people I admire. Boom, you just handed him a key. Now he's not just thinking about your smile, he's thinking about your layers. He's silently telling himself, she let me in, I can't mess that up. That shared secret becomes an emotional anchor, and every time he remembers it, he feels closer to you. 4, the soft landing effect. Let's be honest, life doesn't exactly baby men. They're expected to carry weight, solve problems, and never crack. Even when they're breaking inside, the world says, man up. So imagine this. He's had a long day, he's quiet, maybe even distant. Most people either push him to talk or back away. But you say something like, you don't have to explain, just sit. I've got you. That is a soft landing. No pressure, no demands, just quiet support and emotional presence. And while he might not say anything right then, internally, he's associating you with calm, with safety, with a space where he doesn't have to perform. Men don't attach to the person who makes them feel admired. They attach to the person who makes them feel at peace. That's what the soft landing does. 5, the micro connection moments. You ever have a moment with someone where nothing big happened, but it still stuck with you? That's what I call a micro connection. It's the little moments that slide under the radar, but leave a lasting impression. A knowing look across a crowded room, a quick hand squeeze when words aren't needed, laughing at his joke when he didn't think it was that funny. These don't scream romance, but they whisper intimacy, and men who are taught to suppress emotion respond deeply to that whisper. When you consistently create these moments, you build emotional familiarity. That's how you become the person he thinks of when he doesn't know why he's thinking of anyone at all. 6, the mirror of masculinity. This one's gonna sound weird, but stick with me. Men are constantly asking themselves, do I measure up, not just in work or life, but in how they're perceived in relationships? And here's where you come in. When a woman shows up with soft confidence, feminine energy that is open, calm, and receptive, it reflects his masculinity back to him. He feels like more of a man around you, not because you're boosting his ego, but because your energy complements his. You're not trying to compete, you're not trying to control, you're just showing up and being. That balance creates emotional polarity, a push-pull chemistry that doesn't just create attraction, it creates depth. And for men who are used to hard edges in life, your softness is the contrast that keeps them coming back. 7, the we're a team feeling. Most men aren't scared of commitment, they're scared of being alone inside a commitment. They've seen couples where it's me versus you instead of us versus the problem. So when a woman shows up with a team mindset, it changes everything. Imagine he's venting about a tough decision at work. Instead of saying, you'll figure it out, you say, let's talk through it. We'll find a way. 2 little words, we will. That's a game changer. It signals to him, you're not in this by yourself. I'm beside you, not behind, not in front, right here. That kind of emotional support is rare. And once he feels it, he'll protect it, he'll nurture it, he'll do whatever it takes not to lose you. Because in his mind, you're not just his girl, you're his partner. Bonus trigger when you surprise him emotionally. Want to really stick in a man's emotional memory? Catch him off guard? With kindness. Let me explain. He opens up about a failure he's ashamed of. And instead of judging, you say, that must have been tough. I'm proud of how you handle it. He expected awkward silence or advice. You gave him emotional permission. Or maybe you text him first after a fight. Not to win, but to reconnect. In both cases, you surprised him. Not with drama, not with guilt, but with grace. That's what he'll remember at 2 a.m. That's what he'll feel when he's driving home, thinking about what makes you different. Unexpected emotional warmth, that's not just powerful, that's unforgettable. So here's the real question. Which one of these emotional triggers have you already been using without even knowing it? Or better yet, which one are you excited to try first? Let me know in the comments. I actually read them. And if you want more honest insights on how men really think, feel, and fall, hit that like, subscribe, and make sure that notification bell is on. Because next up, I'm breaking down the 7 things men say only when they're truly emotionally invested. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one. See you there.